Okay, I'm going to be starting a different series of videos, which I'm going to be calling Journeys with Jane. And the reason it's called that is because of an absolutely extraordinary friend of mine who was named Jane, otherwise this wouldn't make very much sense. And Jane was an extraordinarily wise woman, very intelligent, but I've known lots of intelligent people in my life. I obviously went to the most famous academic institution in the history of the world, so intelligence is not something that is in nearly as much short supply as wisdom. And Jane was just an incredibly wise person. She was also really individual in the way that she thought about things. So her insights were often quite fascinating because they were her thoughts rather than cliches that she picked up from 7 million other people. So I thought that what I was going to do is just give some of the lessons that I gained from Jane in sitting with her and having conversations. And I'm passenger in the car at the moment rather than extraordinarily multitasking, and it reminded me, driving along the road that I'm driving along as we speak. Oh gracious, it's beautiful. Let me just show you just very quickly. Hang on, back soon. Oh, Cape Town, the beautiful. Oh, now isn't that lovely for a city? Yes, one of the wonders of the world, just there in the middle of the city. Okay, hang on, back to the lesson. Anyway, so one of the lessons which Jane taught me, which I thought was amazing, relates to a story where she was having an absolutely wretched day. So everything was going wrong. You know, the days where everything is going wrong. You know, the traffic light suddenly was out and the power had suddenly tripped and the plumbing went funny and all of these things. And she was in such a spittingly irritated mood as she sat in the traffic, desperately trying to fix whatever was going wrong. And she decided that what she was going to do, and I think this is really relevant for us at the moment in this kind of weird COVID time, is stop and think, what isn't going wrong? What is going right? And in Jane's words, she said, within minutes, I was completely overwhelmed by how much was going right. Because after that broken traffic light, the next traffic light was working. She realized the sun had risen that morning. She realized that the leaves were falling off the trees as they did absolutely every autumn. And the person in the car next to her was managing to have their conversation on their hands-free kit absolutely perfectly and were laughing with whoever the friend was. There were so many small things that were going right that we take often completely for granted. And although there were the 5 real irritations that were making her life irritating that morning, there were thousands of things that weren't going wrong. So the lesson that she takes from that is that although it's very tempting to think that things often go wrong and that everything is going wrong, the truth is at any given moment almost everything is probably going right, even in this crazy, insane world in which we live, even at this crazy time. And that's a wonderfully comforting thought, which I often reflect on. And the reason I'm bringing it up on this road is I was driving along here to collect someone from the airport a couple of weeks ago, and suddenly at exactly 6:20 or whatever the time was, the lights suddenly came on above me. And it was obviously shortly before it was dark, and the lights clearly come on exactly 20 minutes before the sun sets, or whatever the case might be. And I don't know if I've ever noticed that before, but I suddenly realized, wow, I'm seeing these 100 lights suddenly go on. But how many millions of city lights have guided me from one place to another that have gone on at exactly the right time, and I have absolutely no consciousness of the fact that they have worked and that things are actually functioning an awful lot better than we may think. So let that be a little bit of comfort. Even in these crazy times when nothing is going right, the truth is most things are actually fine. Okay, so that's one thought. And Incidentally, the street lights, which I was noticing at that time, which suddenly switched on, are here. Just a little reminder that actually most
In
things
600 meters,
are going
take
right.
the exit on the right.
Like my GPS is working. Have a good day, everyone.